Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we are doing more notable people of the area. We are doing 4 towns today, and we shall start off with Matewan, West Virginia, or Matewan, I've also heard it called. Matewan, Matewan. Um, but there are only 3 people from there. First is Sam Church, who was a coal miner and president of the UMWA, the United Mine Workers of America, from 1979 to 1982. Next person we're going to talk about is John Hendricks, who is an American businessman and the founder and former chairman of Discovery Incorporated, a broadcasting and film production company which owned the Discovery Channel, TLC, and the Animal Planet networks, among other ventures. He would retire on March the 20th, 2014, after 32 years at the helm. He's also the founder of Curiosity Stream, but that was John Hendricks. Last person from Matewan is Sid Hatfield, who was a police chief during the Battle of Matewan, a shootout that followed a series of evictions carried out by the detectives of the Baldwin Felts Detective Agency. Um, let's see. So yeah, Sid Hatfield. And that was Matewan, West Virginia. Next town we're going to look at is Gatlinburg, Tennessee. First person from there is Travis Meadows, an American country singer and songwriter who has released 4 albums as well as writing songs for other artists, such as Eric Church, Winona Judd, and Dierks Bentley. But yeah, Travis Meadows. Next person we're going to talk about is John Reagan, who was an American politician from Texas. He was a Democrat who resigned from the U.S. House of Representatives when Texas seceded from the Union and joined the Confederate States of America. And he actually was a member uh, of the cabinet for Confederate President Jefferson Davis. There's a bit of argument here. While this originally said he's from Texas, apparently it says here that he was born in Gatlinburg. Okay, he moved to Texas as an adult and became a career politician who served in the Texas House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, and the U.S. Senate. So, yeah, John Reagan, or Regan. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Last person from Gatlinburg we want to talk about is a couple, Felice Bryant and Deodorius Boudreaux Bryant, who is a songwriter duo who live in Gatlinburg from 1978 onward, where they wrote numerous songs such as Rocky Top. Um, but yeah, they write country songs and pop songs. But yeah, best known for Rocky Top, We Could, and Love Hurts. So yeah, the Bryants. Um, but that is everybody from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Next town we're talking about is Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which has two notable people. The first being um, Samuel Ware, who is an American uh, war for independence soldier who fought in the Battle of Kings Mountain and was one of the founders of the lost state of Franklin and a drafter of the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. So yeah, Samuel Ware. The other person is Dolly Parton, who is a country music singer and songwriter who has written, thousands of songs. And she also has part ownership in uh, Dollywood, which is in Pigeon Forge. So yeah, Dolly Parton. Uh, the last that was Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. The last town we're going to talk about today is Boone, North Carolina. First person from there is Sam Adams, who is an American professional golfer who played in the PGA Tour and one of the few left-handers to win a PGA Tour event. Sam Adams. Next person is Chris Austin, who is an American country music singer and was signed to Warner Brothers Records in 1988 and charted 3 singles on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart, with his highest charting single being Blues Stay Away From Me. But that's Chris Austin. Next person we're going to talk about is Eustace Conway. Eustace Conway is an American naturalist and the subject of the book The Last American Man by Elizabeth Gilbert. He has also been the subject of Adventures of the Simple Life by Sarah Vowell on the weekly radio show This American Life with Ira Glass. And that is Eustace Conway. Next person we're going to talk about is Bertha Cook, who is an American handcraft artist who was known primarily for her needlework during using colonial knotting and fringing techniques. But yeah, Bertha Cook. Next person we're going to talk about is Rufus L. Edmiston, who is an American attorney who served as the North Carolina Secretary of State, Attorney General, and was the Democratic nominee for governor in 1984. He is currently a private practice lawyer in North Carolina. Rufus L. Edmiston. Next person we're going to talk about is Tommy Gregg, who is a former American Major League Baseball outfielder and first baseman who played for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Atlanta Braves, Cincinnati Reds, and Florida Marlins from 1987 to 1997, and is currently the hitting coach for the independent Lincoln. I'm not sure what the rest of that is. Let me see if I can pull that up. Lincoln Salt Dogs. But yeah, Tommy Gregg. Next person we're going to talk about is Steve Goss, who was an American politician. He served 2 terms as a Democratic member of the North Carolina Senate and represented the 45th Senate District, including constituents in Alexander, Ashe, Watauga, and Wilkes counties. So yeah, Steve Goss. Next person we're going to talk about is Doc Henley, who is the founder of Wine to Water, an American charitable organization devoted to providing clean water and sanitation to the people around the world. Doc Henley. Next person we're going to look at is John Haller, who was an American football fullback in the NFL for the Washington Redskins and Detroit Lions, and played college football at Appalachian State University and was drafted in the 13th round of the 1948 draft by the Chicago Cardinals. Yeah, John Haller. Next person we're going to talk about is James Hohauser, who was an American lawyer and politician who served as the 68th governor of North Carolina from 1973 to 1977, and was the first Republican candidate to be elected as governor of the state since 1896. So yeah, James Hohauser. Michael Hauser was a founding member and guitarist of the band Widespread Panic. He appeared on 7 studio albums during the 16-year tenure of the band from 1986 till 2002. He was also featured on the 4 live albums by Widespread Panic, as well as several archive releases. Michael Hauser. Next person we're going to talk about is Ken Isaacs, who is an American executive with Christian humanitarian organization Samaritan's Purse. Ken Isaacs. Next person we're going to talk about is Snyder Jones, who is an American professional baseball third baseman in the Chicago White Sox organization and has played in the Major League for the San Francisco Giants, and actually is now with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Snyder Jones. Next person we're going to look at is Robert Matheson, who was an American football linebacker who played 13 seasons in the NFL and played in 3 Super Bowls for the Miami Dolphins, including their 1972 and 73 championship seasons. And that is Robert Matheson. Next person we're going to talk about is Abraham Morlew, who is actually a former Canadian football wide receiver, who was actually signed as a free agent by the Charlotte Stars in 2008. So he's technically from, he technically lived in Canada most of the time. He was born in Liberia, but apparently for a while he did live in Boone. But yeah, that's Abraham Morlew. Next person we're going to look at is Stanley South, an American archaeologist who was a major proponent of the processual archaeology movement, and South's major contributions in archaeology deal with helping to legitimize it as a more scientific endeavor. But yeah, Stanley South. Next person we're going to talk about is Brenda Taylor, who is an American track and field athlete who specializes in the 400-meter hurdles. She reached the final of the event in 2004 Summer Olympics. She also competed in the 2001 World Championship in athletics and won a medal at the 2003 IAAF World Indoor Championships in the 4x4, I guess 4x400 meter hurdles. So, yeah, Brenda Taylor. Next person we want to talk about is Croker Triplett, who was an American professional baseball player who was a backup outfielder, playing mainly as a left fielder for 3 different teams between 1938 and 1945. He played for the Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, and Philadelphia Phillies. That was Croker Triplett. And the last person we're going to talk about is Doc Watson, who was an American guitarist, songwriter, and singer of bluegrass, folk, country, blues, and gospel music. Watson won 7 Grammy Awards as well as a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award and was known for his finger style and flat picking. So yeah, that was Doc Watson. And that is everybody from Boone, North Carolina, and everybody that we wanted to mention in today's video. I appreciate y'all watching this. I will put the sources in the description below the video. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, later.